where brevity is paramount.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming playlist. My name is John Denton and with me is Chet Roivas.
All right.
So, if you've not heard this podcast before, it's quite simple. We're here for 40 minutes. We're going to try and squeeze 20 games into that amount of time. What we do is we compile a list of 10 games each, rattle through them between ourselves from 10 to 1, 10 being the game we played the least this week, 1 being the game we played the most. And because we are both fortunate enough to work in the video games industry, we're going to try and keep things current with stuff that's not even out yet. So, without further ado, let's get cracking with Chet's number 10.
No, number 10. Okay, right. My number 10 is Twisted Metal on the PS3, which I just got yesterday, and I've literally played for about 20 minutes, and I'm going to set it up tomorrow because I've got to review it. But yeah, far more interesting a game than I thought, just going on the opening cutscene. Have you played, did you play all the old ones?
I played the first Twisted Metal a lot back in the day. That's the only one I've really played.
Did it have a story?
I think it had a vague semblance of a story, but it was kind of back in the day when games didn't really have stories in the same way. They had characters and maybe a bit of writing, but, like a bit of writing on a screen for 20 seconds, but not an actual story with cutscenes.
Yeah. Because this one's got a full-blown story, and I wasn't expecting it, and it's really good. The first cutscene, as soon as it starts, it's done in that kind of grindhousey, grubby visual style. And as soon as it started, I was like, "Oh, it's this." And the first thing you see is a radio, like a pocket radio. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, the first voice out of that is either going to be the late night guy on the radio and the whole world's gone to hell, man, or it's going to be a preacher going mental. And it was both of them arguing. And as soon as that happened, I was like, I something about I just fucking like this already. And it goes in this, it spins this really weird sort of story briefly with this serial killer, pretty adult. I mean, not explicit, but quite sort of twisted. Which
Twisted Metal.
There you go. I was just thinking.
I think you should do the rest of the podcast in that late night radio.
Sorry, it sounded authentic, did it?
Yeah, I thought it was him.
Oh, genuine, nice. That's good. Yeah, and the cutscenes are done. It's a combination of live action and really, really ski whiff animation. It's got far more personality and it's far weirder than I expected, and it's good. It's like an adult game. It's like an old school, like the PlayStation 1 days, where they just bring out those games that were adult, probably for no reason, but just to give it a sort of cool edge. It's we thought they were adult, but we were actually about 15. Yeah, but I mean, that's what it was like. It's like this. It's a game about driving a car around and shooting people, but it's got this edginess to it, which I really like. It kind of feels old school, which is completely weird.
That's what it needed to be, I think.
Well, it could have just had nothing. I was expecting it to just jump straight in and be sort of smashing shit up, but yeah, it's more interesting than I expected. I'm looking forward to sort of playing it some more tomorrow.
Cool. Yeah, I've not touched that, so interested to hear what you think next week.
I don't think there's going to be a lot to say because it's fun. I played the level; it's good.
It's one of those games that's huge in America, isn't it? Overall, the series, it's like a big game in America. Twisted Metal, not really so much over here.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's always going to be people that are going to buy the PS3 exclusives, but yeah, I don't think it's massive over here. I mean, No, you're right.
So my number 10 is Lumina's. Is it Electronic Symphony?
Did you? Yes. Did you get it?
No, I've been umming and ahhing all week. I've got the Vita, so I picked it up as I said I would. Fantastic machine, and I've been playing the trial version of Lumina's, which is why it's my number 10. And about 20 times I've gone into the store and queued myself up to download it, and then changed my mind. Thought, I could probably get it cheaper, and still haven't got around to getting it. It's just completely captivating. I really like the choice of music, especially as the last Lumina's game I played was, as we talked about last week, Lumina's 2 with Hoobastank. So, it's about, I think it's an ex-games journalist, an American games journalist, has gone over to Japan and he's sorted out the soundtrack for it. And it seems like he's made a good choice. Some old school cheese in there as well, which is good. I will get it. Fantastic, just a matter of time.
Why? What about the price? Is it more? How much is it?
It's 30 quid to download, but I've only got an 8 gig card, and I think it's probably 25 quid in some places to buy, and then you've got the game, and you don't have to fill up your card. So yeah, it's just a matter of time.
If you've got a Vita, you need that game.
Yeah, I think so.
Genuine. Okay, right. Number 9. It's same deal as Twisted Metal. Literally just turned it on and then off again. Asura's Wrath.
Asura's Wrath.
Already, I'm into it already. I've just done that completely mental opening, sort of 10-minute QTE. QTEs have had a really bad rap, but like, sorry, say that again.
I say if you think the opening's mental, mate.
Oh no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in. But QTEs, I enjoyed those sections. I don't know why.
They're just the best QTEs that have ever been done. You'll see as you play it more. The whole game. I don't want to spoil too much now that you've played it, and we did talk about it on a prior episode. But the whole game is so brilliantly designed around the idea that this guy is this angry, and every part of the gameplay feeds back into that rather than it just being a story point. And the way that the QTEs are constructed feeds back into that as well, and it's just absolutely mental as well.
Yeah, I'm liking everything about it. The combat's could be better, but I like. I can't remember the last time that games that completely and utterly weird came out sort of as a mainstream release. Although they didn't publicise its existence, it's still sort of out there on both formats.
Came out the same day as Mass Effect 3.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what can you do? And it's got a spelling error on the box, which is in every Capcom game now.
Yeah, they love doing that.
But Asura's Wrath, talked about it a lot, finished the game. Started off hating it, thought it wasn't a game, thought it was just empty, Dracula's nonsense. But within about an hour, it completely won me over. And by the end, I was almost jumping out my seat, cheering, punching the air. It's that awesome. Everybody, I said it before, you've got to play Asura's Wrath. However you do it, whether you wait until it's £1, you've just got to do it. You've got to do it. So, my number 9, game I talked about, I think every week on this podcast, is Hero Academy. Yeah. But it will be the last week for a while because... I dropped my phone in the toilet. My nice shiny iPhone 4S, which I love, is no more. It's dead. I dropped it in the toilet on Saturday night. I had to fish it out of the toilet. I've got no more Hero Academy to play. It's just a really, really bad situation to be in. No insurance. It's because nobody cares. I can't play Hero Academy.
Can't you play Hero Academy on the iPad?
Oh, yeah.
Problem solved.
Of course I can, but it's different. I like having it just on me while I like the fact that it interrupts what I'm actually supposed to be doing, rather than me going out my way to play it.
Yeah.
So can't play Hero Academy. Well, I can on an iPad, but fantastic little strategy game. Seems to have taken over the world. I've talked about it enough on this podcast already.
A tutorial wouldn't have gone a fucking miss.
What?
A tutorial.
There is a tutorial in there.
There's also a little video of the guy saying, do this, do that. Use this spell. And I'm
just press the question mark in game and then tap on anything, and it'll tell you exactly what it does.
All right, I turned it on. I downloaded it. I started a game against someone. I moved 2 guys onto my starting blocks, and then I just got too intimidated to play it, and I turned it off.
Well, if I sort my phone out, then we'll play it.
Or over the iPad.
Yes.
Crazy. All right, what number was that? Number 8?
That was my number 9.
Oh,
so your number 8.
Right. Okay, my number 8 is draw something on the iPhone.
As is mine. Fantastic.
Okay, it's what you said it was. Pictionary.
Co-op Pictionary.
Yeah, it's cool. The only problem with it is that they haven't made. You can select easy, hard, medium, difficulty. The hard words, they haven't modified them. It's like they took them out of a Pictionary box, and it's all well and good. Having... What did I fucking have the other day? Like an impossible word. When you were all sat around a table using a whiteboard and you're all laughing your heads off and you're drunk, because someone tried to... Because you can't draw it. Trying to draw anything on that screen is difficult anyway, but some of the hard ones are like, cut me some fucking slack, you know what I mean? Really ridiculously difficult. I wish I could remember what it was.
I managed to draw Usher and the guy got it.
What, did you actually draw Usher?
I drew Usher. I drew a black guy with a long black coat and sunglasses, and I put OMG over it. He got it straight away.
No, you didn't. Did you really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, because you can watch them guess. You get the video playback.
Yeah.
Of them guessing. Yeah, you got it straight away.
That's
so credit to that guy.
Okay. Well, I mean, to be totally fair, there is a restricted number of letters on the bottom. So there's only so many things it could be. I'd have looked for LL Cool J, Kanye, but although that's not.
Yeah, but you don't know how bad this drawing was.
Did you keep? Oh, you pushed it.
Amazed you knew it was a person.
Oh, you should have kept it somehow, taken a snap.
Yeah, I would have, but I dropped my phone in the toilet.
Okay, that's an even better point. You need to get both of those on your iPad. Then,
yeah, I'll sort it out.
Yeah, good game though. Really fun.
Yeah, great fun. It's free.
It is free. It's too hard though.
It's not too hard for free. So yeah, that was my number 8 as well.
Sorry?
That was my number 8 as well.
Oh, okay. All right. What have I got? 7. Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Again, spoke about it at length last week. There's not a lot more to say. I'm pissed off that it's come at such a busy time because I can't convince my mates to get it. And the only reason we all know Street Fighter 4 is so great is because we all got it at once and we all got sucked in. And I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle because I'm getting sucked into it. I think it's almost as good, but I'm not going to just play non-stop against fucking chumps online. I want to, you want to, get a little community going.
Exactly the same boat because the community we play is the same people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as with any fighting game, it's only as good as the people you're playing against. And when those people don't exist, not the game's fault, of course, but yeah, real tough time for it to come out.
Because you learn it together as well. That's another big thing.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, it's all that's the way to learn a fighting game as far as I'm concerned, not sitting there in training rooms. For normal people like me, I'd rather learn it in tandem with someone of a similar level, and you just get that situation where one person starts to read the other person's game and gets a bit better, then the other one picks back up. And that's the real beauty of a fighting game for me. I know a lot of people are interested in learning every combo and link and studying not horses, studying graphs. I don't know if there are any graphs that exist. You know what I mean?
Someone's drawn graphs. You know that there's factions of people that sort of compete to have the most detailed graph. But yeah, it's playing online is all good. But I'm either
against. Is it still fucked though? Is it still fucked online?
The sound cuts out. Yeah, it is fucked. I mean, there's no latency problems at all on the 360, but the sound problem is pretty. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't patched that as a priority.
It's really confusing because I'm so used to using the sound to know when I connected or not.
Yeah, big time. But yeah, I've just been playing online. It's really great, but it's you do need other people to do it with. I'm either facing ridiculous people who are, clearly experts who've spent hours and hours with it, and people who just picked it up that day and just stand there and hammer one button. So it's losing its appeal a little bit. It's going to go back on the shelf, and I'm hopefully friends are going to pick it up maybe when it's gone down in price or when there's not so much.
That's what I'm hoping, when there's a bit of a lull in action, and then we can all learn it together.
Too late.
Okay, my number 7 is a game called Shoot Many Robots. Guess what you do in that game?
Go on.
Yeah, you shoot a load of robots.
Hot shit.
It's basically sideways Borderlands. That's the best way I can describe it. 2D Metal Slug style shooter in a Borderlands type rednecky robot-y world. It's all right. It has 4-player co-op.
What, side-scrolling? 4 people?
Yeah, it's a side-scroller. And it's kind of got some loot and stuff like that, which it sort of continues the Borderlands theme. It's kind of difficult it's really unremarkable. It's difficult to recommend it. It's absolutely fine. You do shoot many robots, probably too many robots. They're solid enough. The explosion's all right, but there's been games like this for years, and they've been much better. And they're called Metal Slug or Contra. So
yeah, but there's loads of emphasis on looting.
A little bit, not in the same way that you do in Borderlands or loot-based RPG. There's just stuff you can pick up and shit you can buy, but it just doesn't quite have it. It doesn't have that real tension and freneticism of the great side-scrolling shooters. So yeah, it's solid. It's on Xbox Live now, PSN.
How much?
Solid. I think it's 1,200. It might be 800. So ultimately, I don't know.
So it's called Shoot Many Robots. It's meant to be a shooter, and yet there's loot. It's like when you mention Borderlands, I'm already thinking of something that it's probably not. Is it just a side-scrolling shooter?
It's just a side-scrolling shooter, but you pick up bolts from when you kill the robots, and then you can use them to get new weapons and shit.
Okay, well, that sounds all right. It sounds fine.
So it's fine. Yeah, it's tough to recommend, especially at the moment with everything that's coming out. But if you really, really have a hankering for side-scrolling shooters, it's definitely a solid one. If you've got a hankering for side-scrolling shooters, then you're really strange. So.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds sounds fucking.
Yes, right. Yeah,
I mean, does it look like it was deliberately or like clearly inspired by Borderlands?
Yeah, it really is. You play as a redneck guy. The robots look like they're straight out of Borderlands. It's all kind of dusty desert space. It has kind of like hee-haw, like bang, 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 bang music. Yeah, it's like you go, oh cool, they've got a style, but the style's just a bit. I don't know. I could have made it up on the back of a postage stamp when I was asleep.
Brutal. Did you have to review it? Did you give it a review score?
Yeah, I give it like 60 or something like that.
Oh, fair enough.
It's so unremarkable that I've forgotten.
Okay. All right. What was that? 6.
That was my number 7. So you're on 6.
6. Okay. Metal Gear Solid 3D Snake Eater on the 3DS.
I hear it's not so good.
I think people have overreacted a little bit. There's no doubt that I'm quite surprised that Nintendo and Konami didn't see fit to really try and push the Circle Pad Pro with it, because I know they did that with Resident Evil, and it's so much better with the Circle Pad Pro. It's like it's as essential to it, whilst not being essential as it was to Resident Evil. I think people are overreacting. It's clearly not a rush job. There's some bits like later on. Frame rate problems, but they're minor, and the controls, you do get used to them if you do have to sort of cope without a Circle Pad Pro. I mean,
So without the Circle Pad Pro, how are you controlling it? You're using the face buttons to aim?
The sort of camera and aim. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's like
Turok 1.
Is it like Turok was like the right stick was like you move with that, and then you look with the left. I can't.
There's only one stick on an N64.
But you're using the
yellow
buttons
camera
to move.
buttons.
Oh God! You're fucking confusing the shit out of me. I without it in my hand, I don't know. It's just they're a slightly bit finicky, and it's got that kind of whooshy thing where if you move the camera, it moves. So if you're trying to do something with precision, you're fucked. But for some reason, that's not problematic with the Circle Pad Pro. But yeah, there's a couple of frame rate problems. The 3D looks really great when you're crawling through the underbrush, and it's like there's a real sense of depth there. It's a really good looking game when it's not sort of stuttery during the cutscenes as it is a bit later on. I couldn't finish it again, seeing as I just fucking played it the other week, which seems like the weirdest time to release it just after the HD collection. Yeah, completely bizarre.
Especially, and then the HD collection's coming to the Vita as well.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about this is that I never got really tired. It was just so neat to open up the 3DS and that game, all of it was on there. I don't know why. I thought it was really cool. I mean, the fucking Vita version is going to blow that reaction out of the fucking water. But yeah, I couldn't stomach finishing it again. But it's not the rush job that some people have painted it as. And if you've never played it and you've got a 3DS, then fuck,
It was definitely one of my favourite games of all time.
It's up there, no doubt.
Cool. My number 6 is not one of my favourite games of all time. It's Mass Effect Infiltrator. See what I did there? It's yeah, really nice. You play as a guy called Randall Esno, and I had to write that down because I never remember it. They've really missed the point, and this game, it's just not Mass Effect. There's no talking. Well, in fact, there is talking, but you can't do any of it. It's just people wittering at each other about a load of shit I don't understand. You play as a Cerberus agent, but I think he might be a double agent, but it's so boring I stopped listening. It's just Mass Effect cover shooting on an iPhone, but instead of it being a normal cover shooter with twin stick controls, when you're in cover you can tap on the enemy on the screen and he'll pop out of cover, and then you can adjust the reticule to tighten up your aim. When it works, which it does for sort of the first 20 minutes, it's fine. You think, oh, it's quite a neat system, it's quite a good workaround for something that's traditionally awkward on an iPhone. But when, after about half an hour, enemies start pouring from all sides, and you can't shoot normally. You have to tap on everyone, so you just get fucked every single time, unless you're really, really patient, and then you still get fucked anyway. And it looks really nice. It's from the guys that did Dead Space on the iPad.
That was really good. The iPad.
Yeah. It's a good effort, But you know when games are on iPhone, you go, oh, that's cool, well done for trying, but don't actually play it, and it's got really, really bad voice acting.
I assume like the script had absolutely shit all to do with BioWare, right?
Yeah, nothing.
Oh,
I mean, it has some sort of tie into the Mass Effect 3 story, and you can upload, you can sort of gain intel in it and upload that to your Mass Effect 3 game, and it adds to your war assets, I think. But yeah, I mean, it feels like the video game spin-off of the Mass Effect movie, if that makes any sense.
Okay, that sounds dry. But I mean, how much is it? Like, is this the game that cost like 40 quid?
No, it's £6, I think.
Or there's some kind of upgrade you can buy in it that costs like a shitload of money.
I'm not
you
sure.
can max out your character by buying credits. Oh, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
These microtransactions to make it ridiculous, but it's not one of those games that you need to do that in order to actually get anything out of it. I was perfectly fine playing it. It was the game's design that was causing me trouble, not the fact that it had been, made to be evil, so you have to pay to actually be able to complete it.
Okay, that's bad. They had a fucking superb run, EA. They did the iOS Mirror's Edge, which is still the best iOS game ever as far as I'm concerned. They did the iOS Dead Space. They did the iOS Hot Pursuit. And now they've just bang the Battlefield that they've like deleted, and this, which I haven't heard great things about. So like their grasp of iOS games seems to have gone right down the fucking Kazi.
Yeah, it does seem like it. I mean, it certainly looks nice. I mean, it almost looks as good as something on the Vita at times, but it just doesn't have it. The design is it's really suited to this one trick that it can pull, and when that falls apart, the whole game just falls apart with it.
Okay, right, well, number 5, Scramble with Friends. There's not a hell of a lot I can say about it. Have you played it?
Words with Friends, or is this different?
It's made by the same people, Scramble with Friends. It's basically word search with friends, but you can go diagonal, you can sort of loop the loop and all that stuff. It's more like Boggle, I'm told. I never played Boggle, so I don't know.
It sounds like Boggle.
You've got 2 minutes. There's a couple of little sort of modifiers you can add, like slowing down time or reshuffling the letters, but they're not important. It's great. It's good for me because I used to play Words with Friends with a lot of friends, and they all fucking cheated at it. Although they never admitted it, they cheated. I know they did. They can't cheat at this because how could they? That's why I enjoy it, because I can play games on the phone with them again after
playing. That's exactly why I started playing Words with Friends, because I just thought it was bullshit.
Well, yeah.
I like the concept of it, and then you just come back and they go, Ollie says quack, QOQ, 9,000 points.
No, but that's fair enough, because, I mean, it's so easy to just think, I'll have a blag, I'll try and put the Z and the Q in a word, and it just randomly works. But Words with Friends is the same as Quarrel. When I got Quarrel on Xbox Live, I was like, this is fucking wicked. Stuck on a game, and then it's just like, bang, bang. And it got to the point where me and a mate were playing a 3-player game with laptops, getting all of the right words against another guy who was doing exactly the same thing.
That's when you know you're doing a good thing with your life.
Yeah, really. I mean, we just did it because we were doing a 3-player game. He started nailing every one of those anagrams. Bang, bang, bang. We're like, okay, he's cheating. We grabbed our fucking laptops, and I think we gave it 5 minutes and realised how non-fun it was, and then just fucking packed it in.
That's an empty experience.
No doubt.
Number 5 for me is FIFA Street.
Nice.
They've done a good job. The thing I can say about FIFA Street is they've done the best possible street football game they could have, I think. It's a really limited subject matter. They've not gone down the crazy route. There's no balls on fire or fucking Zane Lowe talking over crap music. It's just captures the spirit of the scene. It's got a fairly functional career mode. The on-pitch action is good. There's loads of different types of ways to play. There's 2-on-2. There's all the way up to 5-a-side. There's indoor futsal in like really nice sort of indoor courts. They've done the best that they can do. It's very, very similar to FIFA 12, to be honest. And it's kind of tough to recommend because of that, because it does lack that depth. But on the flip side of that, it's really immediate, and anyone who's played FIFA will be able to pick it up and play it and have it straight away.
Are they going to though if they've already got FIFA?
It's a tough one. It's a tough call. It's one of those ones where people will play it and enjoy it. So it's hard to slag off a game that's as good as it possibly can be and is fun. I can't slag it off for how people might react to it, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
I assume people might get fed up with the fact that it feels like a sort of lesser brother to FIFA and it costs the same, but at the same time they might be going, I want a street football game, and this is exactly that. So I'd be interested to see when it comes out how people do react to it. I think it's very nicely done, if unnecessary is harsh, but unremarkable possibly.
Yeah. I haven't played it yet. I'm going to play it at the end of this week. But I played it at an event with a colleague probably about 2 months ago, and we had to be asked to leave. They had to say, we're shutting this down, the devs are going, they're taking the code back, get out. We just thought it was fucking fun as. I just love how
is.
The tricks are... I never do tricks in FIFA 12 or 11 because they're just too much of a pain in the arse. But the tricks on this are a breeze to pull off, and that's... There's a lot more emphasis on that sort of play rather than normal football.
There is, yeah, and they've got a really nice system where you can put your foot on the ball and then drag it about and then burst off past them, which is probably accurate simulation of dribbling yet in a football game, which is it's a great effort. I wouldn't be surprised if that appears in the next FIFA, because it's much more like the kind of stop flow of football than a football game is, which is more about sprinting the whole time, quickly changing direction. I was a bit harsh before, I think, saying that. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. FIFA Street, it's good. It's up to FIFA players to work out whether or not they think it's worth it, I think. But I'll reiterate that first point. They've made the best street football game that they could have made, and it's a shitload better than the old FIFA Street games. A shitload better.
Yeah, that's no surprise.
Horrible.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, right, what was that? 5, 4. My number 4 is Battlefield 3.
What a surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise. I still can't believe it's not number 1, but hey-ho. What can I say? I still love it. There's nothing more I can say about it. It's an all-time great.
What's your opinions on this new pack that they're releasing?
I saw that trailer and I was like, that looks way too much like COD, but at the same time, DICE haven't let me down yet, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm annoyed that we're not getting you massive fucking sprawling maps with vehicles and stuff.
But that's the next pack they're doing, isn't it?
I haven't heard it. Is it?
What they're doing is their first pack is close quarters combat, and then the next pack that they're doing is the biggest ones they've ever done.
Oh, okay, that sounds wicked. No, I mean, it still looks great.
They've got a third pack on the way that they don't know what they're doing or they're not saying.
Okay. No, I mean, I think the close quarter stuff looks really, really good, but although it doesn't look like Battlefield, I love Battlefield so much that I'm going to buy it anyway and I'll love it, unless it's shit, which it won't be. So
Isn't it just going to be people standing in front of each other with rocket launchers, though, like in Metro?
No, I'll tell you what. After that beta, we were like, fucking Metro, never again. Now, whenever we're playing, not me, I mean, I share the sentiment to a degree, but all of my friends are like, come on Metro, because there's so much more strategy involved. It's a different game. Oh, mate, once you get beyond the subway, it's so much fun. It's a really, really fucking cool level, and it's not Battlefield, but it's just fucking great. It's a lot more. I mean, like, those maps look like Metro, sort of expanded and toyed around with. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'd look forward to it if it was just like a hill.
Battlefield Hill.
Battlefield, one hill, no guns, slaps. I'd love it. I'm biased. What can you do?
So, talking of games that have kicked up a bit of a fuss on the internet this week, amongst the angry denizens therein, Mass Effect 3, or as I'm calling it, the continuing adventures of Dave Gorman in space.
Nice.
Yeah, I've not played enough. I've not played as much as I would have liked due to work and other commitments. I'm still mightily impressed so far. I'm still pissed off about the fact that I'm having to play as Dave Gorman instead of my imported Shepard, because I've put a hat on him now, so you don't have to see his stupid face that much, but I keep expecting him to start banging on about Google. It's pretty shit. But the game itself, I'm mainly really impressed with the combat. I wasn't too keen on the combat. The combat in Mass Effect 1 was terrible. It was just functional.
It wasn't even functional.
Yeah, it wasn't even functional. The combat in Mass Effect 2 was fine. I was more impressed at the time that they'd managed to turn that creaking pile of crap, Mass Effect 1, which I love for many other reasons, into a functional game. This, I was actually really impressed. I was trying to play it like Mass Effect 2 at first and getting killed. And I had to take a lot more time over the firefights and ended up having a few real epic firefights just on a side quest. Really tactical, having to place my my squad and direct them and stay tight and use all my powers. And
Did you do that with Kinect, directing your squad?
No, fuck no.
Oh, try it.
Fuck no.
Try it. The amount of times I'd say it works 95% of the time when I used it.
Really?
You feel like a bit of a tit at first, but like the way, that's the second most impressive.
So I try and do it in Dave Gorman's voice.
I don't even know how he speaks.
Wow.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. Try it. Honestly, I've just randomly shouted flippantly like, do this, and it works. It's massively impressive. Try it.
Shit. Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
Just so you know, because I'm.
Yeah, I can't be ignorant. I can't. I should try it. I get my only downsides with Mass Effect so far are the lip syncing, the face, ignoring the Dave Gorman stuff for a minute. I think I've just been a bit spoiled by L.A. Noire. Whatever you think about that game, and it's certainly a game with flaws and foibles. You can't deny the quality of the facial animation in that game, and Mass Effect seems a little bit wooden at times. I hate the fact they've taken away the film grain effects. I love that the first two games. I think it looks worse for it.
Are you film grain effect?
Yeah, the Mass Effect 1 and 2, they have a really cool film grain effect over the whole game.
Considering much time I spent playing Mass Effect 2, I haven't noticed that. The one thing I've noticed is there's some awesome lens flare when there's like a planet or like a star in the background. The way they replicate camera lens flares looks superb, very cinematic. I think this looks better than the past two with reservations.
I think the characters look slightly worse. I think the skyboxes and the backgrounds and the environments look a lot better. Yeah, that early mission when you're on the Turian moon and their planets in the background, that's a stunning skybox. It really helps set the atmosphere. I'm really, really into the game. What's up with James Vega though?
Oh, what? Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Freddie Prinze Jr. on steroids, on all the steroids. The best thing is, I'm keeping him in my squad. I think because everyone hates him, I'm like, well, I'm keeping this guy in my squad. Then I'm not going to hate on you, James, just because you're a fucking idiot. But if you have him in your squad, the way he stands like the shy boy at school with his elbows in and his knees together. I think they must do all the animation the same or something for everybody.
I do. It does get problematic because they have that canned animation where mid-conversation. I mean, it's not just Shepard that does it, where they do that sort of I'm going to lean back on one leg and fold my arms, and sometimes they do it at the most inopportune moments where he's just he's having some kind of vaguely heartfelt discussion. He's looking like he's like, girlfriend. That move is just so prevalent. I'm surprised they haven't realised how canned it looks. It's like the Mass Effect move.
The Mass Effect lean.
The Mass Effect lean, yeah, Junior Chet.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think it's scrappy. It's very scrappy. I think in comparison to 2, considering how sort of polished 2 was, but because this is so much, not so much, but because this is a much bigger game, there's just moments where characters look slightly sort of. The lip sync doesn't work, and they look kind of stilted and weird and like zombies, and it's kind of that's a bit off-putting. It's
James
not as polished.
Is weird. He's a weird guy.
Who?
If you actually take him at face value, instead of they've just presented him as this meathead guy. He's like, yeah, man, what's happening, man? And he doesn't sound like that. He sounds more. I don't know why I did that voice. But if you actually watch him, he does stand there like a weird kid, and his eyes don't work properly, and the stuff he says make no sense. And then if he gets downed, he's like, "Oh, I'm done." And I'm gonna keep him around. He intrigues me.
Okay, all right. So how much have you done?
Not enough. On the game clock, I'm 6 hours.
Okay,
but it feels like I've done fuck all.
Yeah, that's. I wish I could be that be in that situation because I had to review it, and I had to review it in quite a short time frame because I needed to get it up ASAP. So I kind of had to not rush it, but I'd like to fucking set aside time and take it over a series of weeks rather than just fucking blitz it in one go.
Well, that's what I'm going to do, but I'm worried about everybody spoiling it. I've already had a few sneaky spoilers appear on my Twitter feed, and then everybody's banging on about the ending now, so even though I don't know what happens in the ending, I'm aware of it being bad. Apparently that's annoying. So
it's not bad, it's just like it's inherently anticlimactic. They couldn't help that. In order for them to deliver the ending that all these people wanted, they'd have had to stop it being a Mass Effect game for the final whole third, because there's just choices that you make that you don't get to see the repercussions of. But how, you'd have just ended up doing a load of... it wouldn't have been Mass Effect.
Jim Sterling described it as people wanting the classic American Hollywood, everything's resolved type ending, and them not getting it.
Yeah.
Does that sound spot on?
Yeah. Someone asked me the other day, and I compared it to the end of The Shield, which is a TV program I love, but I thought that they got the ending fucking seriously wrong.
I was just about to fucking spoil it then.
What? The ending?
I won't.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. I felt, and for a moment, I was like these people. I was like, fucking, I've invested so much time in all that, and they said this, and it was going to be this, and like they'd even know what they're making. But after a while, once you stop being a dick, you realise that it's not their job to please you. That's what they wanted to do, and they did it. The funny thing about all these tens of thousands of people who've put their hands up and said, we want a new ending, once BioWare have got over the fact that, hurt feelings, if there are any, all they've got is, 30, 40,000 people with their hands up saying, a captive audience saying, we're more than willing to pay through the nose for DLC. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do pacify them to some degree. Although they probably shouldn't, and they don't need to. I was disappointed, but you have to allow it. If you're going to allow them to do everything else in the game, allow them the ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree. I've always been. I like games to be as close to authorship as possible. It's impossible in massive games, but sometimes in some of Suda51's games, you get that impression, and I always believe in the artist, even as pretentious, stupid as that sounds when it comes to games about shooting robots in the face.
Yeah.
I'll always try and support someone's vision.
Okay, what was that? Your number 3? Okay, my number 3 is Syndicate. Probably going to retire it to the shelf now for a little while because we've just fucking been relentless. Me and a few friends have just caned it, the absolute fucking arse out of it. It's still fantastic. It's still awesomely underrated. And I have to say, like we've all said, if they were to bring out DLC, as unlikely as that is, it's one of those things we'd buy out as soon as we heard that it came. As soon as it was available, we'd have it. And I can't imagine it'd be that difficult for them to do it for multiplayer DLC because the good thing is the dynamics of the gameplay. It's not the maps. The maps are often just fucking zigzag loop-the-loops through places that have loads of fucking canisters and crates in them. And yet we feel the need to have more. So that's us being weird. But I think it would be relatively easy for them to create new levels on that, as opposed to any other shooter you could mention. But
it's quite possible they already have. It's already in the works.
No, well, it hasn't sold well enough, is it? I'm sure they wait.
Yeah, but most of the time the DLC is already being made, but well before the game's finished.
I fucking hope so. Even if they brought out a half-assed, like, here, have that. If you want it, you can pay, peanuts for it, because we'll snap that up. Any excuse to get back in that game and go through it again, yeah, all over it. On co-op, that is. Not the fucking...
It's one of those games that's now Mass Effect's out and everything else. It's destined to just kind of disappear into insignificance, isn't it, really?
It shouldn't, but yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, we'll do our best to champion it, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm all over Syndicate. Despite having the worst story of any video game in the history of video games ever, it's fantastic. No,
you play Bionic Commando.
Yeah, but that knew how stupid it was, man. All that shit about the final twist.
Actually, that's the best twist ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we ruin it? I think we should.
But it's such a joy when you find out, because you mentioned it to me and I said don't spoil it, and it was just like, I could never
No, we
a
won't
million
spoil it.
years.
We won't
Yeah,
spoil
exactly.
it.
Yeah, it's worth that.
Just check it out though. Check out Bionicle. Even if you just YouTube it, that's a good twist.
So it's an underrated game that as well.
Oh, I love that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't play it this week, so we can't bang on about that.
Genuine.
This my number 3 is Alan Wake's American Nightmare. I finished it. I feel like I'm one of the few people in the world for some reason, but I'm probably not. Yeah, it's a much smarter game than I gave it credit for at the beginning. Much smarter, ignoring the save issues that I have with it, which I talked about last week, which I can't bother to talk about them again. It is a clever game about writer's block, and it really, really picks up towards the end. The last hour is excellent. Some really good use of licensed music, not Kasabian, different music. Some really kind of effective scenes, action scenes, not cutscenes. And they bottled it a little bit with the puzzle stuff in the game, the bits where you have to like arrange things as they should have been in the script. So you kind of, you're unlocking the next part of the story. It's just a case of going up to the things in the room which are highlighted and pressing the button enough times till it goes, and that means you win. So they bottled that a little bit. I'd have liked it if they just left that open and if there'd been some red herrings, but they did what they did. It handles really well. The Alan Wake combat has never been better, and generally, I'm really glad I bought it and played through it. Alan Wake's American Nightmare.
Yeah, I was liking it. I did the first few hours, but I can't remember in recent memory a game where I've just been that content to not go back to it. It's sitting there every time I turn on my box. I can see that it's on like recently played or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't even think about it. I haven't thought about it until you mentioned it. I'm just like, I was really enjoying it. I was liking it, but now I'm just like, I'm not inspired to go back at all.
Try and persevere through, because there are some really cool bits towards the end.
Oh,
and
no,
it picks up the pace massively, and you start rattling through it.
I'm
and
sure.
Then it's done.
I'm sure. I mean, I thought the lack of a narrative was a good thing, but Alan Wake, as problematic as that narrative was, I didn't stop until I finished it. Whereas this, I've just
all the narratives. It's just subtext. It's not in your face. The in your face story is just like, well, face value. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, but that's what I'm
really
saying.
Get in the way.
No, that's what I mean. It's like I thought, great, none of that stupid story to have to worry about. But having said that, I did feel inspired to finish Alan Wake in one go. Rather, with this, I'm just like, meh. Whenever I'll finish it somewhere down the line.
Yeah. Tough time though. Tough time. Loads of stuff out at the beginning of March.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. What was it? My number 2, SSX. Like Battlefield, I have a feeling this is going to be in here for fucking ages in my top 10, and it's just it's wonderful. It's wonderful, and I absolutely love it. I suppose, is it on your list?
No, it's not on my list this week.
I love it. It's really weird. My reaction to it is it makes me feel like Saturday morning.
That's the best time.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But it's like it's such a weird thing for me, because like when I was a kid, I never liked sports of any kind apart from boxing, which I was obsessed with since I was like 0. But sports I was never interested in. But when you're a kid on a Saturday morning and you're flicking through TV, I don't know, there was something really comforting about the fact that there's people going to the football or playing golf, or just Saturday was the time for doing, people doing shit that they enjoy doing. And I don't know, turning SSX on a Saturday morning, as I've done for the last 2 Saturdays, and there's just this buzzing, man. There's all this stuff going on and all these people doing stuff, and you feel like part of a community. Honestly, it's so fucking weird. But on the last 2 occasions I've turned that on a Saturday morning, I felt like going, morning. It's fucking weird. It's just there's all this cool shit going on that I think every Saturday for the foreseeable future, get up, pint of tea, couple of razzes on SSX. It's so, and they could fuck it by having voice support and having everyone talking to each other. They could fuck it. It's such a specific thing, and they've done it so well. I don't know. It's impossible for me to explain very well, but it's shit. I love it.
It's just, I love stuff where people can nail their own individual feelings and how a game makes them feel. That's the beauty of video games weird, in many ways.
And also, I have to say, I think that word of mouth on this game is I don't think this is going to be one of those games that people are going to pick up, for 20 quid in a couple of weeks. I think this will stay full price, because I'm convinced this is going to keep selling, just because Yeah, everyone I know who's got it is just so boundlessly enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, next week I'm getting back into it.
Oh,
I had to take a break through again, just too busy. But yeah, it's not going to be a problem. But I love that. Yeah, that Saturday morning thing. That's a superb sentiment, for want of a better word.
If you were around on Saturday mornings as a kid, unless you were like in a coal shelter being beaten or something, I suppose it wouldn't make much
of course, but yeah, no, I have the same feelings. I do love sport, so Saturday mornings do feel like that to me, and they still do. Irrespective of work, just the nice feeling of getting up Saturday morning and it being healthy and
that's
bright.
what I mean. I've never had that. I've never been like, yeah, you're going to the football, yeah, we're doing this, because sports can piss off. I get that feeling at like 8 o'clock on a Saturday night when there's like a heavyweight title fight on, but like waking up on a Saturday morning now, I spring out of bed, fucking stick the kettle on, I'm just like buzzing. I love it. I really do love
so
it.
it's lovely as an adult, those Saturday mornings that you have where you're not hungover. When you wake up and you're like, I feel fresh, I've got the whole weekend ahead, it's bright skies. Beautiful.
No doubt.
Talking of bright skies, here's a game with none of them. I Am Alive, number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would be up my street, and it really is. It's on which sort of road. Developers have clearly been influenced by Silent Hill. It's kind of like a survival game, I guess you'd call it that. You play as an unnamed protagonist in a American post-apocalyptic town, and the main point of the game, you're trying to find your family. It's all about climbing, really, like a lot of Ubisoft games, but they've kind of reintroduced stress into climbing. You know how in Uncharted, especially recently, it's all about just hammering the button, you'll get across the environment, but there's no real stress or tension to it.
Yeah, right.
In this, there's like a stamina bar now, and it's kind of contrived, but at the same time, you really have to plan your big climbs properly, otherwise you can fuck up and drop. And it just adds gameplay elements that haven't been around either for a while or before. The combat is all... it's not really combat, it's more like you can threaten people with your gun, and then they can work out whether or not you've got any bullets, and every bullet counts massively. It's a really interesting game, and I'd be interested to see where it goes. I'm about halfway through. It's done a lot of interesting things, a lot of clever stuff. It's definitely rough around the edges, but yeah, I'm intrigued by I Am Alive. I like it a lot.
It's another victim of the fact that there's too much good shit out at the moment.
It really is, yeah.
But I do like, anything that's got the kind of fucking polarised reactions I've seen, I'm just like, I've got a date with it, but probably when there's a random price drop, I think.
Yeah, well, the trial's fantastic, because the trial is really long. It's a good 45 minutes. It shows off all the key components of the game. And unlike Alan Wake, if you choose to top up and buy the full game, you can just continue, whereas I had to start from the beginning again in Alan Wake, which pissed me off. But, yeah. I am really, really into I Am Alive. I'm going to finish it this week, and I'll have my final thoughts. And then I'm actually going to put a piece up on our website, thefiniteplaylist.com, about these two games and the stuff I was talking about this new kind of trend for smaller games from big studios.
Cool.
I'm very much into it.
Nice. Okay, what was that? Your number 1?
No, that was my number 2.
Okay, my number 1, Mass Effect 3. Done it. I love it. It's one of my games of the year. It will be in my top 5 if it's not, what a year it's going to have been. It's not as polished as 2. It's wicked. The most self-conscious moments are the action moments. The number of drone gun, mech unit bits, they feel really self-conscious and out of place. It handles them relatively well, but it's I don't think they can handle action as well as they think. But when you're on the ground and you've got your 2 guys and you're using all your tools, that's awesome. It's a fucking awesome game. Obviously, everyone knows it because they've played it. If you haven't played it, done.
It's been overhyped, hasn't it? And that's not saying anything bad about the game.
It depends, because the best thing you can ever say about Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 is that I am not the biggest fan of RPGs, and I am definitely not the biggest fan of science fiction. The fact, if you could have told me 5 years ago that I would just be madly in love with this series of fucking sci-fi RPGs, I would never have fucking believed you in a million years. But for someone like me to be as engaged with these games as I am, that's a testament to how great they are. When you say overhyped, it's everywhere, but it deserves to be. It's a blockbuster that's more than decent. More than decent? It's a hell of a lot more than decent. It's fucking great.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very excited about getting stuck back in
Don't
and
rush.
avoiding as many spoilers as possible. No, I'm not going to rush.
Genuine.
I have no reason to, so I shan't. My number 1 is Wipeout 2048 on the PlayStation Vita, which I
Jesus.
think was my number 10 last week. So it's sort of all the way up to number 1. I played it the most purely because the Vita just really suits my circumstances, as do the iPhone 3DS, with a little fella to look after, all that sort of stuff. It's just easier to play on a handheld at the moment. But yeah, really, really, really impressed with Wipeout. Really reminds me of the first F-Zero on GBA in terms of how it seems perfectly suited to the platform. I really like the old shaped GBA, even though the screen was shit. I like the shape of it. And this is what Wipeout feels like to me. It feels almost like I'm holding the ship in a weird sort of way with my hands. Everything fits perfectly. And it is just Wipeout, but it isn't. It's got wider tracks than the PS3 version, so it's a little bit less confined. The story, for want of a better word, is kind of old school Wipeout, like the origins of Wipeout. So the ships are a bit kind of rougher around the edges, a bit clunkier. I'm super impressed with how slick the menus are and how everything ties into itself, whether it be trophies, whether it be online leaderboards, whether it be unlocking new vehicles, and how everything's done through the touchscreen. The way it handles on the analog stick is fantastic. Really impressed with the tech, and the online stuff's really cool. I can see it making an appearance in other games instead of just racing, which I've always had a trouble with. Online racing games, I get bored of just racing for racing's sake. I always like to have progression in a game, feel like I'm going somewhere. Where here it's kind of feat based, so you play in random games, but the way you progress through the online career is by performing feats that it asks you to do in those races. So it might say, hit 2 people with weapons and finish in the top 4, and then you'll beat that level of the career. And it doesn't matter what track it's on, or what car you're driving, whatever they are. It's just a really cool idea, and I can see that heading into other online games in the future.
Yeah, I quite
really
like
impressed.
I quite like the online, but it's just Wipeout. I mean, like I said, like as good as it is, that's nothing against it. But I could never get excited or invest that much time in it. I don't think.
I mean, I'm probably invested this much time in it because it is the only game I have on Vita, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy it quite as much as I have, having played it the previous week when that chump pissed me off at Game Station. But yeah, just like I say, if any game that reminds me of F-Zero GX, the first F-Zero on GBA, I can't remember what it's called. Any game that reminds me of that is going to be good in my books, and this is. I'm not saying it's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece or anything like that, but yeah, highly impressed. Real good stuff.
Okay, that's us done for another week. Once again, we've failed miserably to cram everything into 40 minutes, but we're going to continue trying to do that to get in and get out as quick as we can. But yeah, that's us done. Thanks very much for listening. You want to follow me or John on Twitter? We're on. Check out our website, thefineoutplaylist.com. Everything you need there. Done. We'll hopefully see you next week.
Done.
Yeah? What's up? What's up?
Already, I'm into it already. I've just done that completely mental opening sort of 10-minute QTE. QTEs have had a really bad rap, but sorry, say that again.
I say if you think the opening's mental, mate.
Oh no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in. But QTEs, I enjoyed those sections. I don't know why.
They're just the best QTEs that have ever been done. You'll see as you play it more. The whole game. I don't want to spoil too much now that you've played it, and we did talk about it on a prior episode. But the whole game is so brilliantly designed around the idea that this guy is this angry, and every part of the gameplay feeds back into that rather than it just being a story point. And the way that the QTEs are constructed feeds back into that as well, and it's just absolutely mental as well.
Yeah, I'm liking everything about it. The combat's could be better, but I like. I can't remember the last time that games that completely and utterly weird came out sort of as a mainstream release. Although they didn't publicise its existence, it's still sort of out there on both formats.
Came out the same day as Mass Effect 3.
Oh, that's it. Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah, what can you do? And it's got a spelling error on the box, which is in every Capcom game now.
Yeah, they love doing that. It's got far more personality, and it's far weirder than I expected, and it's good. It's like an adult game. It's like an old school, like the PlayStation 1 days, where they just bring out those games that were adult, probably for no reason, but just to give it a sort of cool edge. It's we thought they were adult, but we were actually about 15. Yeah, but I mean, that's what it was like. It's like this. It's a game about driving a car around and shooting people, but it's got this edginess to it, which I really like. It kind of feels old school, which is completely weird.
That's what it needed to be, I think.
Well, it could have just had nothing. I was expecting it to just jump straight in and be sort of smashing shit up, but yeah, it's more interesting than I expected. I'm looking forward to sort of playing it some more tomorrow.
Cool. Yeah, I've not touched that, so interested to hear what you think next week.
I don't think there's going to be a lot to say because it's fun. I played the level; it's good.
It's one of those games that's huge in America, isn't it? Overall, the series, it's like a big game in America. Twisted Metal, not really so much over here.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's always going to be people that are going to buy the PS3 exclusives, but yeah, I don't think it's massive over here. I mean, no, you're right.
So my number 10 is Lumines. Is it Electronic Symphony?
Did you? Yes. Did you get it?
No, I've been umming and ahhing all week. I've got the Vita.
Where brevity is paramount.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming playlist. My name's John Denton and with me is Chet Roivas.
All right.
So, if you've not heard this podcast before, it's quite simple. We're here for 40 minutes. We're going to try and squeeze 20 games into that amount of time. What we do is we compile a list of 10 games each, rattle through them between ourselves from 10 to 1, 10 being the game we played the least this week, 1 being the game we played the most. And because we are both fortunate enough to work in the video games industry, we're going to try and keep things current with stuff that's not even out yet. So, without further ado, let's get cracking with Chet's number 10.
Number 10. Okay, right. My number 10 is Twisted Metal on the PS3, which I just got yesterday, and I've literally played for about 20 minutes, and I'm going to set it up tomorrow because I've got to review it. But yeah, far more interesting a game than I thought, just going on the opening cutscene. Have you played? I mean, did you play all the old ones?
I played the first Twisted Metal a lot back in the day. That's the only one I've really played.
Did they have a story?
I think it had a vague semblance of a story, but it was kind of back in the day when games didn't really have stories in the same way. They had characters and maybe a bit of writing, but, like a bit of writing on a screen for 20 seconds, but not an actual story with cutscenes.
Yeah. Because this one's got a full-blown story, and I wasn't expecting it, and it's really good. The first cutscene, as soon as it starts, it's done in that kind of grindhousey, grubby visual style. And as soon as it started, I was like, it's this. And the first thing you see is a radio, like a pocket radio. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, the first voice out of that is either going to be the late night guy on the radio and the whole world's gone to hell, man, or it's going to be a preacher going mental. And it was both of them arguing. And as soon as that happened, I was like, I just fucking like this already. And it goes in it spins this really weird sort of story briefly with this serial killer, pretty adult. I mean, not explicit, but quite sort of twisted.
Twisted Metal.
There you go. I was just thinking.
I think you should do the rest of the podcast in that late night radio.
Sorry, it sounded authentic, did it?
Yeah, I thought it was him.
Oh, genuine, nice. That's good. And the cutscenes are done. It's a combination of live action and really, really ski whiff animation.
Yeah. So I picked it up, as I said I would. Fantastic machine, and I've been playing the trial version of Lumines, which is why it's my number 10. And about 20 times I've gone into the store and queued myself up to download it and then changed my mind, thought, I could probably get it cheaper. and still haven't got around to getting it. It's just completely captivating. I really like the choice of music, especially as the last Lumines game I played was, as we talked about last week, Lumines 2 with Hoobastank. So, it's about. I think it's an ex-games journalist, an American games journalist, has gone over to Japan and he's sorted out the soundtrack for it. And it seems like he's made a good choice. Some old school cheese in there as well, which is good. I will get it. Fantastic. Just a matter of time.
Why? What about the price? Is it more? How much is it?
It's £30 to download, but I've only got an 8 gig card, and I think it's probably £25 in some places to buy, and then you've got the game, and you don't have to fill up your card. So it's just a matter of time.
If you've got a Vita, you need that game.
Yeah, I think so.
Genuine. Okay, right. Number 9. It's same deal as Twisted Metal. Literally just turned it on and then off again. Asura's Wrath.
Asura's Wrath.